Welcome back. So it's good to see Joao Felix and Nkunku get on the score sheet. Let me start with you on this one. And let's stay on Nkunku because it looks like he's become part of Maresca's second-tier side.
Team B.
Playing Conference League games, playing against the likes of Noah Abraham and co, and getting games against Morecambe. He doesn't look too happy.
No, and he's unhappy because he's their top scorer this season. But conversely, because he's their top scorer in some of these games, and we all know that these games are not Chelsea's level, I don't think it's moving Maresca. Because Maresca trusts right now Nick Jackson a bit more. So it's just, he's very unhappy. He wants to be the main man. So he looks very frustrated, and you can tell. But like we said, we are looking at the players who don't get the chance. Felix, if you're supposed to be Cole Palmer's backup, you need to show it. I mean, he scored 2 goals today. That was good.
Is that how far he has fallen off?
But you see, and I remember we spoke about one of these tweets like this that 5 managers in a row don't trust you. At a certain point, it can't be the managers. 5 managers in a row can't see you and think that this guy is not good enough to be our player.
Plays starting minutes week in, week out.
Like, you see, if it was one manager,
and
you can say, okay, maybe you and him had a personal problem. But it's like everywhere you go, the manager will see and decide that this guy, I'm not sure about him. So at that point, is the player. You have to do something for yourself. So for me, like I said, it's about the younger players, the players who don't get much playing time. What can they do? What can we see? And like I said, Morecambe, they're in the relegation zone in League 2. They're about to leave the Football League, as it's called. So this is not a team that we should be putting too much stock on. It's not to disrespect them, but it's just that some of these results, we should just take them as they are, that, okay, you got a team. It's more the upsets that we should criticize. It's more the upsets you should analyze. Because if you were to look at this game, if you, like, let's say you were a betting man and you had to bet Morecambe to win and you bet like 10 CDs, you make like so much extra money. So this is a game you should put too much stock in. But you have to still get the job done after all. So credit to Chelsea for doing their job, but it's not a result you should place too much emphasis on.
Could 2 things. Touch on that Nkunku situation for me as well. Is he justified in wanting to move away from the club?
I don't think so. Because for a player who's had terrible injuries, look, he must be lucky he's playing the way he's playing. Because the sort of injury he got, I think he got 2 knee injury. I think knee
ACL.
He suffered an ACL and then he suffered a really bad knee injury as well.
He needs to buy his time. He needs to be patient. For those of us who watched him when he was in Germany, before the injury, he was a far better player than he is now. So, yes, I understand his situation, but normally you need to trust the manager because you don't want to go ahead of yourself if you're coming back from these type of injuries. You force the manager, he throws you in there.
And you get hit.
And you get hurt, or you don't meet up to the level required. Then you go back to the queue. But if you are a bit patient and it is a step-by-step progress into the first team, it then becomes the case that once you are given the opportunity, you naturally it falls into
Maybe he feels like
just to add something to what Coach said, that's exactly what happened because he was meant to be the starting striker.
Yeah, he was meant to be.
And he didn't impress, and Nick Jackson came and impressed.
So you just be patient and hope that when the opportunity presents itself, you take it. Then you compel the manager not to drop you from the team again. That is how football is done. But look, he's not. Even if you watched him in games like this, I don't think his all-round performances.
He's not really standing out.
Convincing is not.
He's not standing out. He's
Jackson,
scoring. No, he's scoring, but he's not standing out. He's not making you think wow.
And we look at, yes, I agree. Nicola Jackson's goals have dried up a bit of late, but his all-round performances to getting Chelsea to flourish as a team, that is not the sort of output that you experience when Nkunku is there.
Now, to the Chelsea team itself, they've struggled a bit in recent times. Form has been very sketchy. Like we are all agreeing here, this is not the kind of opposition you use in measuring your standards.
Sure.
How do you feel about their ability to get out of the ruts they are in? Can they make it out? What does Maresca need to do? Because he's also a young manager managing a pretty rookie team.
You see, when they started winning all those games, I remember I sat here on radio and I said that
everybody needs to calm down.
You need to calm down because a lot of experiment has been done. It is a young, inexperienced team being coached by an inexperienced manager who's never coached at this level before. So everything he's doing is a bit new. And all the other coaches will be watching.
Yeah.
I think whatever he was doing, he's been figured out. So he needs to get a plan B. He needs to get them to work within the same system a bit differently. That is what he himself, as a manager, is unable to do. Because once you are figured out and people are now so much in tune with how you do your things, they tend to find solutions or antidote to repel your effort and make life even more difficult for you. At the beginning, Cole Palmer's role was changed from what we saw of him under Mauricio Pochettino. Then the young man, but now it's like everything they did, especially during the Christmas time, they were eclipsed or they've been eclipsed. And as a result of that, it's making life extremely difficult for them. But like very typical of a young player or a young team, the performances cannot be this up. It will go, it will stagnate, it will dip, it will come back. It's a bit undulating. So the Chelsea fan will have to accept that that is the way their season will going to be. But within the undulating results that they will be experiencing, they can just hope that at the end of the day, it will guarantee them Champions League football. I think that is where they should be targeting. Let's try and get Champions League football. And if they can win the Conference League in addition, and the Maresca, Champions League.
Or maybe even the FA Cup.
The FA Cup, you say, come on, it's a successful season.
Just thoughts on that as well. How did they get out of the ruts? They are not scoring as much. Is it a Palmer being figured out? Is it the team only being figured out? Or you feel like there's probably more to, because they have a lot of weapons. I look on their bench, they have players they can throw on to change things around. We were laughing at them, but it looks like they have more variety than most teams.
And just before he comes, you see, defensively they've got issues.
Yeah, that's actually the main issue.
Defensively they've got serious issues. So you cannot go into games hoping that you all the time score 3-4 to win 3-4.
And which is what they were doing.
Which is exactly what they were doing.
I think part of it is that, like you said, their defense. It makes teams more like that. Look, let's sit back. Let's just try and be compact. We can get them on the counter. We know that these centre backs are no good. We know that these full backs can be attacked. And the team was open. The reason I say this is if you look at Caicedo's ball winning numbers, it's some of the best in the league. But if you're a top team, you don't want your top players being high in ball winning stats. You don't want them high in interceptions. They should be maybe like good but not the best. When you have a player who's the best, so that's why João Palhinha for the longest time he had the best ball winning stats in the league. Why? He played for Fulham. Fulham are not a top team. Fulham are going to be on their back foot. If you have Caicedo leading these certain stats, it makes you think that Caicedo is doing too much defensive work. So it's an indication that your control of games is not as good as it should be. And when you have that situation, your centre backs are not great. We said it for Cowell, he's not convincing. Badiashile, not convincing. Disasi, you might as well call him disaster, not convincing. Tosin Adebayor, he was at Fulham. There's a reason why he was at Fulham. He wasn't even a standout player there like that. So you look at their centre backs, you're not really convinced. And if you have Caicedo going through all that work, and now he's playing next to Enzo. Remember, Enzo wasn't playing because the coach himself said, when we play with Enzo, we are more open. So when you add all these things together, it's not a great situation. And Sanchez too, also not reliable at the back. So they are not a team that's reliable in those situations. So teams are probably thinking to themselves, let's try and be compact. If we get at them, we don't need too many chances to score a goal. So I think that it's making it more difficult for the attackers because teams are like, okay, let's focus on defending because the attack will get something. So I think that that's what the situation is. And it's making it more difficult for the attackers. So I think we saw them being very good at counter-attacking the beginning of the season. Palmer and Jackson, because Palmer knows how to play those passes. Pedro Neto, Nick Jackson, who also was playing on the wing, they make the run, so you'll find them and things. Now they're not getting those chances anymore because teams want to sit back and like, these guys are good on the counter. So when teams are playing like you like that, it's difficult. So it's just a combination of everything. And that's why coach said the plan B. Even Maresca, he even changed what he was trying to do at the beginning of the season. He changed to this style. And now they're now being found. So you also have to adjust again. You have to keep adjusting. It's an arms race. You move right, they also move left. So you have to move left again. You know, that's how it is. It's like playing chess. So I think that the squad's deficiencies are making it difficult for Maresca to respond. Because you can't even say that, okay, we are going to be more defensive because you can't rely on them. So it's just a difficult situation. But I think the squad, because they can win those one-off games, they'll be good in cups. I think in the FA Cup they'll be very dangerous because you can have a bad day going forward and they have a good day going forward. Their defense doesn't matter as much. But over the course of a league season, you lose enough matches to mean you won't win the league. So I think the Cups is where they should hang their hats. And the Conference League is a very good chance because they are better than most of the teams there when you look at their squad. So
I wonder what Chelsea do with their centre-back situation, especially because
they want
also
to buy
have,
McGee,
they have a centre-back that they bought for like 75 million, who's played less than 100 games for them, I believe.
Fofana.
And is getting paid top money. I'm not sure how they get rid of him. And a lot of their centre-backs are also locked into these long baseball
9 years,
contracts.
10 years
I'm not sure what's
contracts.
going on
But
there.
the idea was that if they become good, you sell them for money. But the downside is if they don't turn out
They
good,
become an
they
albatross
also
around
don't
your
want
neck.
to. They also won't leave.
Interesting. So Chelsea Football Club, let me know what Chelsea fans think of their team. How do you get out of this rut that you are in? Let me move to another game that happened between Tamworth and Tottenham Hotspur. Ange Postecoglou still on course to win a trophy in his second season. He says he always wins a trophy in his second season. He's still in the League Cup. He's in the FA Cup mix as well. Let's get the highlights.